What's going on, everybody? Another video. I'm back, and like I said before, today's topic is gonna be fear. I'm trying to make this not so long, but this one is deep because fear is what controls a lot of people's lives. I'm not gonna get into all the different type of fears, but first thing I want to bring your attention to. Wait, before I get into all that, I read a book long ago by Bruce Lee, given to me by one of my very close brothers, Corey, and it was called Striking Thoughts. Bruce Lee wrote it, and Bruce Lee spoke about how the psychological damage of like a strike, like a physical strike, the psychological effect of imagining it coming is more detrimental than the actual strike, because you can't actually defend yourself against a strike that's not actually coming. It's something that you're imagining in your mind. And when you think about that, like, it's almost worse to think about it, to imagine it before it happens, especially because, as we know, how many times have you done something and your brain was like, do it, even if it's like talking to a girl, your brain's like, do it, and then as soon as you do it, your brain's like, oh, shouldn't have done that. So it's not like your mind is saying all accurate things. So we have to always bring that into account too, before we just blindly follow what our mind tells us to do, because most of the time your mind is spewing that stuff about fear. It's all just it's not the truth. It's the mind's analysis of your perceptions. It's not your actual perceptions that you're analyzing there. So the way that you combat this, the way you combat your mind putting fear into your body, is first you need to understand that it's just something that your mind does. It's most of the time it's able to happen because we're identifying with our thoughts and we're not just analyzing our thoughts. Like we're not our way of being aware of our thoughts are experiencing them like we are them, and we have to find a way for there to be space. And a good way of doing that is by putting your attention, obviously, somewhere in your body, anchoring you to this moment, anchoring yourself to, how you feel inside your body. Also being more mindful of everything, actually. Just being a more mindful person. Mainly being more mindful of what's happening inside yourself, because, we are so concentrated on the things that happen outside of us, and we forget that there's a whole world inside of us. Actually, to be 100% accurate, the entire world we experience outside of ourselves is actually inside of us. We don't actually experience anything outside of ourselves. That's why, actually, if you really tap into your, like, what we really are as human beings, we have the answers to almost everything. And the only reason that we do is because, there's no way to know the universe. You only can know the universe through the way you perceive it, through yourself. And you can always know yourself. So if you always know yourself, and the universe can only be known through you, trust me, we all know the answers to everything that we must do, but we just don't realize that. We're trapped inside of our heads, and we're not inside of our bodies enough. We're not paying attention to the fact that it's a seamless stream. Outside of us, things happen, and it's also connected to the inside of us, and it's a seamless continuum. Like, it's not like there's a line that stops at this is outside you and this is inside you. Really think about it. Our memories are recordings of the things that happen outside of us. Our memories are what shape our personalities. So our personalities are literally shaped by the things that happen outside of us. So, in short, even our personality is our environment. You understand what I'm saying? Like, every little thing, like, the universe is literally happening through us. We are the universe. We are all co-creators of the universe. So, this fear that we have, it comes from a false sense of self. It comes from us sensing ourselves as this being, as this physical being. And most of that comes from us fearing death, fearing that our physical body, our flesh will disappear. But, as you may have heard me say before, death is obviously illusion, just like fear. Like, think about this. Fear is an illusion because there's no such thing as fear. What happens is, say the first time you see a dog, it doesn't do anything to you, you pet it, it's fine. The next time you see a dog, you'll be fine. But if the first time you see a dog, it bites you, it chases you, you hop a fence, the next time you see a dog, your blood's gonna race because it's like preparing you to do the things you did last time. Or to do something that you need to do this time, whatever the case may be. Either way, it's almost like a superpower or a special ability, but we don't see it that way. We let it paralyze us. And, it paralyzes us because we don't understand it. So that right there is fear. And that's me explaining to you how it's not real. Like, it's literally like a superpower we have. Pain, same thing. It's like you get a cut, you get a laceration. There's a signal that goes to your body, lets your body know that your body sends a signal to your brain, lets you know you got cut. Your brain sends a signal back to your body and lets it know how bad the damage is, and we feel that as pain. But it's just like a damage, calculator. That's pain. See, pain is not real. Death, same thing. Who has ever experienced death? Who has ever saw death? Every time we think about death, what do you think about? Sickness, pain, injury. You think about dead carcasses. That's not death. That's not a picture of death. What is death actually? No one has ever seen death because death does not exist. As far as being alive, something that's alive cannot experience death. And all the things that make us afraid of death is because we're living, right? So even if we did die, the part of us that's afraid to die will be dead with us. We'll be dead with the rest of us. So there will be nothing to fear. Like, no, you can't even experience death because that's just on the opposite side. It's not actually death. It's when we return. Right now we're lacking. You see all the pain, all the things that you could feel because you want certain things. All that goes away when you die because there's no separation. You go back to the source. We have fear because we don't understand the world. And I could go on and on about how techniques to help you become less afraid. But the truth is, you want to stop fear. The way you stop your fear is by empowering yourself with knowledge of self. They say the truth will set you free, which is true. It's very true. And even the ancient Egyptians, like all the ancients said, know thyself. Who doesn't? Like, if you were to look inside yourself and look even to see where the fear that you have, where does it land? Look and try to find where it lands. And you'll see, if you're honest and you're 100%, you'll see that the fear, not only is the fear not real, it's something that's created in your mind, but the you that the fear lands on is a psychological version of yourself. It's a version you created that is affected by the psychological things that you imagine. And so once you realize that, not only is this physical you that you see not the real you because you're a spiritual being, but that psychological you, it's so imaginary that if that psychological you disappears, you can't even be affected by psychological things anymore. And that is what the great sages call a spiritual awakening. It's when you realize that the limitless self. When you realize that you're not that imagined self, and that's when your ego disappears, because that's what your ego is. Your ego is that psychological version of yourself that you have. And that's as far as I'm going to take this video, because I think I'm already went over time that I have for today. And I'll see you guys later. The next episode is going to be on death. I know it sounds kind of grim, but I figured since I tackled fear on this one, the next one will be about death. See you guys later. Tony out. Bronx to Buddha.
But you'll be fine. It'll all be fine. It's just in your mind. Yeah.